Hello, and welcome to today's thoughts on My Family book that we're going through this year. This week is a hard topic. It's talking about helping our children when there is a divorce. It's written by Brian McAllister, and I say that because he did a fantastic job. So if you have time, hopefully every week you're doing this, and we say this a lot, but go through and sit down and read what he has to say for this week because it is fantastic. He does a really good job about talking about a really difficult subject. The first 2 days are titled Speak the Truth in Love and Keep Speaking the Truth in Love. So 2 days back to back, he harps on the same exact thing when talking about this subject. He says, whatever you do, when we're dealing with our kids during this situation, or you're dealing with kids who aren't your own, maybe you're a grandparent or aunt, uncle, or a friend, speak the truth in love. We often underestimate how much kids understand and take in and acknowledge and are able to process. And while there's definitely a growing point of how much they can process and what all they can process, we often don't give them credit for what they can do. And so if we dance around the subject, if we aren't honest about what's going on, they're going to see that. They're not dumb. They pick up on those cues, and they know when we're lying to them a lot of times. So speak the truth. Let them know what's going on, because if we try to sugarcoat it, try to hide it, it's just going to cause more pain, more confusion, more heartache at times. So speak the truth in love, though, in a way that lets them know that we care for them, that we care for what they're going through when this is happening, for what the parents are going through, what the family's going through. Speak the truth in love. He harps on that back to back, and for a reason. When stuff like this happens, we need to speak the truth in love. And that also goes to his last Devo on Friday. He talks about setting boundaries, and he's basically saying, like, hey, whatever boundaries we set for the way we want to treat people, regardless of who they are, right? Like we have this command to treat people the way we want to be treated, right? That applies to these situations too. The golden rule doesn't just apply to life when it's easy, but especially to life when it's hard, right? To love your neighbor as yourself, especially when times are hard. Some of the most impactful interactions and dealings that Jesus has are with people who are in really bad situations, right? If you think about the woman at the well and the woman caught in adultery, two moments in Jesus' life where he's caught in some bad, not he himself, but is thrown in the middle of some bad situations. And how does he respond? He speaks the truth in love and sets boundaries and says, hey, regardless of who I come into contact with, I want to treat this person the way I would want to be treated in that same situation, because not for Jesus, obviously, but for us, we're all sinners too, right? We're all tempted in many ways, and often, maybe sometimes we're tempted in the same way they are, or maybe we've been through what they've been through. So set boundaries and say, hey, whoever I'm talking with, whoever I'm dealing with, I'm gonna honor those commandments that I try to show to everybody in my life, right? Like, not just to the people it's easy to show love to, even the demons do that, right? But to those who, when it's especially hard. And also, just Thursdays is really good about understanding how kids process pain, and he talks about this a little bit, or process big impacts. Everybody's going to process things differently, but especially for younger children, like, they don't necessarily know how to deal with all this emotion. And so he compares it to like a garden hose attached to a fire hydrant, right? You have a lot of emotion rushing through this little hose. A lot's going on. Don't know how to let it go or where to let it out. And so a lot of pressure, a lot of built up anxiety. so being aware of that. And then a huge part of all this is to find help, whether you're in a situation where you're the culprit and you need to sit down with somebody and say, hey, there's some stuff going on in my life. I really need to figure out what I need to do, where I need to go. Like I just need to get this figured out. Or if you're the one who's trying to comfort and deal with kids who are going through this, looking for help of like, hey, how can I help this person? Or maybe even taking them to somebody who can help. I know there are a ton of people in our church family that we're connected to that have counseling backgrounds. I don't want to start like naming a bunch of names, I guess. I don't know. Maybe I should. It's YouTube, so you never know what to do. But if you're connected with our church, we have people in our church who have counseling backgrounds and who've made this a profession in their life. So it's saying, hey, maybe we need to take our kids to see somebody. There are organizations all over Chattanooga that can help with that. We're connected in a special way to the Greater Chattanooga Christian Services, who offer counseling in a Christian environment, and there's also a few other different ones. And then, of course, if there's anything we can do here to help, whether you're going through this situation, whether you're helping people go through this situation, whatever it is, we're going to try our best to do it. Christ did, to offer forgiveness, to speak the truth in love, and ultimately point you to the guidance we see in the Bible. When we talk about divorce and marriage, often it's easy to talk about the theological aspect of like, what does Jesus say about divorce and remarriage? What's his stance on it? And that stuff is important, but we also need to realize, and Mr. McAllister does a great job, I think that's his name, in this book or in this chapter of saying like, hey, that's an issue, but it's also when this happens, it influences a lot of people, impacts a lot of people, especially the children. So making sure that we're doing the best we can to serve our children in this time. Hopefully there's something in there to help you out. Again, read this week's devotionals because he does a fantastic job. And again, anything we can do to help, we're here. Services tonight, if you're able to make it, and anything else we can help you with, just let the church office know. Thank you.